Hi guys, welcome to today's video. We have a lot on tap for today. First of all, I'm sure you have already noticed that I already have one eye look done. About a month or so ago, I did a short where I was showing that I had created this look using the Viseart Neutral Mattes palette instead of what was then the new release from Natasha Denona, her mini 5-pan sculpt palette. Well, someone requested that I do a tutorial on creating this look, so we're going to do that today. Then we are also going to put to the test some of the newer products I've purchased up against some of my Holy Grail products. First of all, on this eye, I have already applied my Holy Grail mascara from Tower 28. Over here, I'm going to use the new Benefit Bounce Mascara, which some people have claimed flakes later in the day. So we're going to take a look at that. In terms of complexion, on this side, I am going to apply my Holy Grail, which is the Glossier Stretch Foundation. On this side, the Skin Tint from Makeup Forever. Over here, the Victoria Beckham Contour Stylus, which I have come to really love for doing contour of the cheekbones. We're going to put that up against the newer product in my collection from Rare Beauty. This is the lightest shade in their contour product. And then finally, I mean, what would a battle be without some blush? So on this side, I will be applying my Holy Grail blush from Gucci up against the Rare Beauty Soft Pink Matte Bouncy Blush. I believe this is going to be released on March 27th. So I am going to apply these to different sides. I will come back in for check-ins. Hopefully this will help you as we are all gearing up for the Sephora Savings event that kicks off on April 4th. If all of this sounds good to you, I hope you will stick around for it. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know whenever I have uploaded. And now let's get into the tutorial on creating this eyeshadow look. So to start out this look, I am gonna start light and go dark. So I am going to grab some of this very lightest shade on my mini 14 Refer, and I am going to apply that along the brow bone lightly. I do have eyeshadow primer on, forgot to mention my Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, and I already did brows. So some of that there, and then also we want to go ahead and brighten up sort of this inner portion of the eye. So just dusting some of that in. Okay, and so now we want to start to create that gradient, right, going outwards. And so I have a fairly fluffy flat brush from the KJH Spectrum collection. I am going to start with just the next shade over and pick that up and pat some of that on. Going all the way up to the crease. See, this is still really, really, really light on me. So if you have any tan at all, maybe this is your absolute inner corner shade. Okay. And now I'm actually going to use this same brush and I'm going to go the next shade over. Pick some of that up. And now working just a little bit further over on my eyelid, I'm going to dust that in. So now I want to get into some of these deeper colors, and I am going to work on the outer corner in the crease. And so I have grabbed my Showdown 00. It allows you to really feather out when you're, working on a blend. And so this is a great brush for a look like this. I am going to go in with this shade here. This is the brush that's sort of more pinched, so great for laying down color, and then you can flip it to the side and work through the crease. And just tapping back and forth to sort of start getting a blend here. And even kind of going at a diagonal a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna go, you know, a good little bit above the fold here of my crease. And I'm using very light pressure and swooping that all the way over towards my nose. Went a little too far there. This is the kind of look where you really want to sort of relax your eyes when you're applying this, really sort of soften your gaze, and that will help you really focus on applying this where you can actually see it, if your eyes are hooded, for instance. Okay, I'm going to take my close-up mirror down so that I can better judge that for myself. It is a little more difficult for me, I have to admit, when I'm doing eyes at a different time than if I'm just switching back and forth. So I'm going to do my best to get this nice and even. Regardless with this look, you're building, building, building. And so, you know, I may come back to some of these colors and build on top of what I've already done. I am going to grab a pencil brush now. This is a Refer 23, which is their smallest pencil brush. I'm going to go into that same shade, pick a little bit of that up, and apply that along the lower lash line all the way over. I'm going to go ahead and apply our darkest shade. I am going to grab a Refer 13 Mini and pick up some of this shade here. I'm going to tap that off and just sort of start tapping this into the outer corner. And blending it into the other shade that I had just laid down, and even up into the crease a little bit. And let me grab my same pencil brush and dip into now that darkest shade and apply a little bit of that just at the very outer portion and connect up to the top. Now that I've got that bottom portion down, I can see a little bit better where I need to add some more depth so that everything is nice and connected. Okay. So I want to work a little bit more on my blend. So I'm going to go back to that brown that was the next sort of lightest one down that I had used. And again, pick that up on my Showdown 00 and sort of tapping back and forth here. Try to get that blend nice. I do think that my brow bone on this side is a little bit lighter. So I'm going to go in and emphasize that just a little bit more. And in here. So now what I'm going to do is grab a liner brush. This is a liner brush from KJH Spectrum collection, and I am going to tap into the black now. And now I'm just going to stamp that onto the upper lash line. I'm going to angle it just a little bit out here towards the outer corner and stamp. See if I can get a little bit of that depth there. I am going to grab now my felt style liner from Beauty Pie and sort of stamp that also along the upper lash line and along the inner corner. Instead of going straight in and lining like this, I'm gonna take it and sort of use the side of it to sort of stamp that in. I'm trying to get an angle where you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, and then out here, I am going to then draw in the line a little bit higher. A little thicker. And with a little bit of lift at the outer corner. I want to let that liner dry a little bit, so I am going to do mascara on the bottom lashes. Over here, I did use the Tower 28 on the top and the bottom, and so I am going to live dangerously and use this bounce on the bottom as well, which makes me a little nervous because that's a pretty big fluffy brush, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully I don't make a huge mess, but let's see. I am managing to grab my little blonde lashes, so that's good. I got a little bit on my waterline, but we can clean that up. I'm going to curl my lashes. This is a Shiseido eyelash curler. Okay. This is the Bounce Mascara. Ooh, just saw a big clump on there. Okay. My lashes have grown a lot from using the Swede lash serum, and I feel like I'm having to relearn how to put on mascara because I'm not used to them being this long. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna do another coat, but before I do, I'm gonna go ahead and take my felt liner and lightly line here. So I'm also kind of tight lining a little bit throughout the waterline. And making a bit of a mess. think I didn't get enough mascara at the base of my lashes. So when I go into the second coat, I gotta make sure to do that. Whoa. And really wiggle it in at the base. Okay. I've got something crazy happening over here with these lashes. Let me throw a little bit more Tower 28 over there. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of like the ones at the very front want to point one direction, and the ones right next door want to go another direction. One more thing, and that is my Victoria Beckham pencil that is for this waterline here. You know, it's this sort of white flesh-toned liner. So running that in the waterline, more so toward the front. Let me hit this side up too. Okay, I think that's the eye look finished. I think we got pretty even there. And just as a first look, here are the lashes. Let me know what you guys think in terms of the way they're looking just after first being applied. So Benefit Bounce and Tower 28 Make Waves. Okay, so now we are ready to move into these other products. I think the rest of this is going to go a lot more quickly. Let's start out with my Holy Grail. So this is the Glossier Stretch Foundation, which has been a part of my project pan. I haven't done a project pan update in a bit because I have introduced so many new products to my collection, but I have been making good progress on this product. So I am just going to apply this stuff with my hands. A bit more. We'll also, of course, be able to see how some of these other products play on top of these different sort of foundation skin tint products. Okay. I think that this Glossier foundation is actually a little bit lighter than the skin tint. Either that, or the skin tint just doesn't do as good of a job of evening out my skin tone. Could be both. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we've got that on. And now let's do the skin tint. I'm going to tell you that this whole pump action thing, it's gotten old. I've gotten sort of bored with it. The novelty has worn off. I find it to be a little bit more of a pain in the butt than I originally did. So I've just put some of that on the back of my hand. And I have a feeling I put way too much on the back of my hand. But just get started applying this. And of course, this is supposed to be buildable coverage. And in terms of wear test, I mean, I expect these to wear differently. I mean, this is a skin tint up against a foundation, but I still think it will be interesting to see what the results are. Get up here. I've been trying to decide whether or not I want to pick up the Milk Makeup skin tint that I believe is a part of their Hydro Grip line. If you've tried that and have any thoughts on it, think I would like it, not like it, based on my skin type, let me know in the comments. I can't decide if it's for me. Okay, so I think that we are good and covered there. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if now that I have them side by side, I think one is dewier or lighter. I don't know. My first sort of impression is that the skin tint is dewier, so glowier, you know, if that makes sense. Let's grab some concealer. I am going to use my Glossier stretch concealer because it is the one most easily at hand, and I do love it. And my BK Beauty Kitten Paw Angie Hot and Flashy brush. So I'm just going to tap that in, get some on there, tap it on the back of my hand to prime the brush. And now start tapping into the inner corner. Oops. I forgot to tap on the back of my hand, so I just put a whole lot of concealer right there. Yeah. And gotta tap out here now. Okay. Make sure I have enough like right under here. I'm feeling kind of dark under there. I don't know if it's the eyeshadow got down sort of further than I wanted, but I can kind of brush that away. All right, so we've got that on. Next up, we have, I guess contour products. So over here, we are gonna go with the Contour Stylus. Let's see, I've got two different brushes to use with our contour. So I'm gonna draw that on there. And this is actually a brush from Beauty Pie. Do a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do this too. Oop. Okay, and now we're gonna go in with the Rare Beauty. And so for this, let's see, I'm gonna try to do baby dots. Baby dot, baby dot, baby dot? No, okay. And I actually have a Katie Jane Hughes KJH brush for this. It is a little bit fluffier, but I think that makes sense for a product that's truly liquid like this and not a cream stick like the Victoria Beckham. So guys, here's what I'm trying to decide with this product, okay? Does it look more bronzery on me than contour? Like, is the color really a contour color or does it look like a bronzer color? Like I said, this is their lightest shade. I don't think, oops. Can't talk in makeup, apparently. I don't think that any of the other products have more of a gray undertone than this one. So I don't think any of the other colors would work for me. I don't normally work with this brush for this, so we could have some user error on brush. Okay, so we've got the contour on. I am going to go ahead and apply powder, and then we're going to do blush on top of that, because the blushes that I'm using today, the Gucci blush is, of course, a powder blush. The Rare Beauty blush is sort of a cream putty-like product that turns to powder, and so I think it's fine to use powder over it. I think it doesn't matter which you do. I think, if I recall also, that that is true of the Rare Beauty contour product, just for your reference. Okay. All right, guys, this just leaves blush. So let's do it, right? Okay, Gucci blush. Blush. I'm actually thinking I might get another shade of this in the Sephora Savings event. I've already kind of started working on my cart. This is the shade here, and I think it is absolutely beautiful. This is my Refer 19. This is the brush that I always use with this blush, so that's all that's on this brush. So, should kind of get it into the hairline. And yes, I'm going to be wearing different shades of blush here, but I would love y'all's perspective on which of these colors looks better on me, because this is Hope, I believe. This is the Rare Beauty, and this is described as mauve, like a mauve kind of tone. So for that, I am going to use my BK. I believe this is the 109. This is, you see product on there. This is what I've been using with this, so we're not, you know, cross-pollinating here. We're not messing up our experiment, so I am tapping into that. I am going to tap on the back of my hand a little bit, because I have learned with this blush, you do need to be a little bit careful not to overdo it. I love this blush. I just feel like it looks so natural. Okay, I don't want to mess up, you know, I'm not trying to mess up the results, okay, of our test. And please do not let what I just said sway. You know, if you decide to weigh in on which blush you think looks better on me, please do not let that sway your response, okay? I want to hear what you guys think. But I really like this blush. Okay, do a little bit more over here. I feel like I applied a little bit differently. So I think that we're even there now. I'm going to put on a lip product. I did have a little something on my lips earlier. Yeah, I am going to go with this lipstick from Merit, and I believe this is the shade Millennial, which is sort of a pinky shade. Okay. All right, guys, and that's it. Presto, changeo. That is the final look. I hope that you found the eyeshadow tutorial helpful if you were interested in creating this kind of look or wanted to see another look using Viseart. I am going to take some photos in some different light of the way all of this looks right now. And I will also look to do a check-in, record a little bit midday, and then at the very end of the day. It is currently 10:35 a.m. Central Time. Stay tuned for those check-ins. Just to get a better view of how everything looks just after application, now I'm in fuller sunlight, natural light, so that you can see how the complexion products look as well as mascara. Hi guys, so it is check-in time. It is a little after 3:30 in the afternoon, which means it's been about 5 hours. And so here is how we are looking right now. I don't think I have any flaking from the mascara, but I'm wondering if some of the shadow sort of transferred and migrated sort of below that bottom lash line, because it does look a little messier and darker down there. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't really see a big difference from side to side. I will check in again in a couple of hours. All right, guys, here we are at the final check-in of the day. I am back at my vanity because, of course, it's dark outside. So this is the best lighting to use. I've lost all the natural light at this point. In terms of the way that all of this makeup performed, I am going to say that at this point, I am not too happy with the way that either the foundation or the skin tint looks. I don't know if you can see how absolutely shiny I am. Maybe that's to be expected regardless of the product. But yeah, I wouldn't leave the house to go on a date like this. In terms of the mascara, sure enough, I can see some little specks over here, clearly flakes from the mascara. This is not a case of eyeshadow migrating or eyeliner. Those are very clearly flakes from the mascara. So now the lashes themselves look good, I think. I don't see them looking any worse than the Tower 28, but I do see some flakes down here. I'm sort of curious. Let's just see if I take one of my Clean and Clear oil absorbing sheets and sort of hit in the center there. You can see here, yes, oil slickness. I didn't, do any touch up during the day, of course. That definitely helped. So, it's possible with either of these that you could, do a little oil cleanup or a little light powder and continue on with the rest of your day in terms of the complexion. But yeah, I am getting flaking over here, guys, on the Bounce mascara. So good to know. Question answered. All right. I hope this has helped you guys, and I will see you on our next video. Bye.